The aesthetics that you get from functional training is a byproduct. And obviously you're gonna look good. You know, I used to be a skinny guy and this is what I look like now. I don't go to the gym, but I still look like this. Once you get jacked, right, you got to put yourself in a position where you're a woman's first choice. And you got to be a woman's first choice just based on optics. She's not going to take time to get to know you, man. That comes afterwards. That comes after attraction is established, right? So depending on what you look like, it's going to determine your success in the dating market. It just is what it is. I don't make the rules. I just simply adapt to it and I dominate it. You understand what I'm saying? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Feel free to stick around. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the importance of getting jacked, fellas. It's not about being swole or being the biggest guy in the room and being bulky and taking up a whole bunch of physical space. If that's your body type, then cool, yeah, maximize it like that. But if that's not your body type, that's not even what I'm talking about. Because clearly, that's not even my body type. So the sweet spot is for you to get lean. So if you're a bigger guy, you could be big. I mean, you don't have a choice. The whole point of getting jacked is for you to get lean, you know? You got to have the ideal phenotype, the ideal aesthetic as a man, which is capable and functional and strong. You don't have to necessarily go for size. You just got to go for strength, functionality, power, explosiveness, cardiovascular health, you know, stamina. This is what it means to be jacked, right? So now, there's something that you notice in the dating market when you're a jacked guy, when you're in the best shape of your life, right? You're going to be treated like a beautiful woman. That's the best way I can describe it. You're going to be treated like a beautiful woman. You're going to be getting the attention. You're going to be getting the choosing signals. At the same time, I'm not saying you're not going to be dealing with a bunch of BS because you're still a guy, you know, and it just is what it is. It's part of the game. Even the most jacked guys, the most handsome men, they still deal with BS. It just is what it is. However, you can mitigate it. You can reduce the frequency of how much BS you actually have to deal with or how much BS you're subjected to, right? Because at that point, when you become jacked, when you become objectively jacked, lean, functional, strong, explosive, powerful, you have so many options that you don't have to deal with BS. Your physical shape is like your ID card. That's the first thing that people see, you know? They see your vitality is written all over your body. You have abs. You have muscle definition. You're clearly someone that's disciplined enough to be consistent in their training regimen. You get automatic props instantly just for being jacked. You get treated with special treatment just for being jacked. You get picked first just for being jacked. You don't even have to say a word. And then when you combine that with the right mentality, you're gamed up. You know what's up. You know what's going on. You have the best mindset. You have a top-notch winner's mindset. And you're jacked. Come on, man. That's the ultimate cheat code in anything in life. Dating, professional life, career. It doesn't matter. Social gatherings. You're at the top of the top because most guys are not jacked. Especially as the years go by, you know, testosterone level reduces. A lot of guys start letting themselves go. They're not really dialed in like they used to be in their early 20s, mid 20s, early 30s. They start to fall off. But you, on the other hand, you maintain that. You maintain your training regimen. You're on point. You're dialed in. So you get the winner's share. You get the lion's share. First of all, you have utmost respect for yourself. You can actually look in the mirror and say, wow, nice, right? Objectively speaking, it's like, okay, damn, that's what's up. It gives you a certain type of confidence for you to actually go out in the world and achieve something. It gives you a certain level of internal self-respect for you to actually be capable enough to keep your health in order, to keep your physique top notch. It gives you a certain level of energy that allows you to go out there and accomplish all your goals. You have a certain spark about you when you're jacked. I used to be a skinny guy. I'm still pretty slim, but I'm lean, you know, I'm quite strong. And the way that I train functionally. I'm not really into going to the gym and lifting up barbells and bench presses and all that because it doesn't really translate into real life. There's never going to be a scenario in real life where I have a perfectly symmetrical bar with evenly distributed weight on both sides that's somehow on my chest or lifted up some rock and gets on my chest and I have to go like this. It's never gonna happen, you know. No disrespect to the people that go to the gym and, you know, strength train and all that. There's a time and place for that for sure. However, for most of us, we don't necessarily need that. You can replace your barbell benches with push-ups. It'll shock you, man. the type of results that you can get from doing a whole bunch of push-ups. I'm talking about doing push-ups to the point where you can't even lift up yourself from the ground anymore. Like you just fall on your chest and lay there for a few seconds to get your life in order. You understand what I'm saying? Push-ups are the most underrated exercises ever. Honorable mention pull-ups as well. Think about it. Your ancestors never went to the gym. They didn't even know what the gym was, but somehow they were still jacked because their nutrition was on point, their sleeping schedule was on point, and they did functional training. It was part of their everyday life. If you come from a lineage of farmers, hunters, builders, they were lifting heavy shit every single day. They were carrying things. They would squat, pick something heavy up and walk, and squat and put it down. That's functional training. They had to fight. They were training in combat. They had to know how to fight. They had to know how to defend themselves. That's why nowadays in my training regimen, I do more martial arts training. I do a lot more combat training than bench press. You know, the aesthetics that you get from functional training is a byproduct. And obviously you're going to look good. You know, I used to be a skinny guy and this is what I look like now. I don't go to the gym, but I still look like this. I got to get the thumbnail as well. I got to get my pose in for the thumbnail too, but you get what I'm saying, man. And once you get jacked, how it translates into the dating game. Once you get jacked, right, you got to put yourself in a position where you're a woman's first choice. And you got to be a woman's first choice just based on optics. She's not going to take time to get to know you, man. That comes afterwards. That comes after attraction is established, right? So depending on what you look like, it's going to determine your success in the dating market. It just is what it is. I don't make the rules. I just simply adapt to it and I dominate it. You understand what I'm saying? You come to find out that in terms of intersexual dynamics, a woman is going to make so many rules for a guy that she's not attracted to. That's where all these standards come from. She's not attracted to you, man. She's genuinely not attracted to you. So you got to jump through all these different hoops. You got to do this and that. You got to compensate for your lack of physical prowess and vitality. But when you're jacked, you don't have to do any of those things because, first of all, your options increase when you're jacked. There's going to be a lot of women that want you. There are going to be a lot of women that are genuinely attracted to you in a major way. So you get to a point where you can kind of just sit back and pick from the women that choose you, you know? I say it all the time. I like who likes me. I don't go out of my way to convince a woman to like me. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. I'd rather focus on the women that already objectively like me and choose me and then pick from that